Right now on the National Weather Desk, severe weather from coast to coast.
We didn't have time to react. It just happened so fast.
We're expecting these treacherous conditions to continue throughout the day and into tomorrow.
More than a year after Tropical Storm Fred, many are frustrated by the slow pace of cleanup,
leaving them wondering if and when the rural county will look like it once did.
Did you know? You can smell changes in the weather.
But I've heard people say that snow has a smell as well. Do you have any knowledge on that?
How soon before volcanoes in Northern California erupt again?
Both Lassen and Mount Shasta are classified as very high threats by the U.S. Geological Survey's rankings.
And our Friday football forecast looks at the role weather could play in this weekend's conference championships.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Well, good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. Folks in the South are still picking up the pieces this morning following Wednesday's tornadoes. There was devastation of an apartment building in Utah, Alabama, which suffered that's just one example of some of the power that the twisters brought to the region. We have two reports this morning, beginning now with Karis Harmon in Tybee.
We didn't have time to react. It just happened so fast.
A scary experience for people that were caught in the crosswinds of an EF3 tornado in Tybee on Tuesday. The damage in the area is extensive, tearing the roof off of houses, trees down, and homes destroyed.
It was very scary.
After Rose Parnell got the tornado alert on her phone, she got her dog and headed to the bathroom, hunkering down and praying for the best.
Right when we sat down and got ready, the wind started howling.
When the tornado passed by Andy Timothy's house, he says he could feel the floor beneath him shaking with the wind.
When the house started moving, I just, what's that, oh Lord?
Carmen Walker lives in Building 2 at the Sagewood Apartments. Wednesday morning, she saw the damage at Building 3 just yards away.
I was horrified, honestly. I couldn't believe that, that really happened, and we were so close to it, and I just really felt bad for the ones who live there because, I know it would have been close to the holidays. That had to have been very hard for them, too.
16 units damaged, 19 people displaced. Damage wasn't just contained to the Sagewood Apartments. On Colonial Drive, this home was crushed under a large pine tree. People were inside on the second floor when it came down. Several homes in the area were damaged. However, no injuries were reported anywhere in Utah.
From tornadoes, we turn to winter weather. It's been a snowy start to the season in the Pacific Northwest. All of that snow and ice is causing power problems, especially in the mountains east of Seattle. Reporter Karina Vargas is in Snohomish with more.
Roy Tucker lives in Edmonds, an area that was greatly impacted by power outages. He says he was without power for almost 2 days, struggling with the cold weather.
Power went out, and then all of a sudden we decided, geez, how do you cook? How do you do anything in here?
Tucker says he had to cover himself in clothes and blankets just to stay warm. Tucker says he was relieved that his power came back early Thursday morning.
From Washington State, let's move now to Montana, where the story has been more snow. Even in a state that is accustomed to winter weather, the snow is causing some serious problems on the road. For a look at the conditions, we'll go now to Butte. Reporter Josh Margolis.
The snow started falling here around 2:30 p.m. in Butte, and it's been coming down steadily ever since. Particularly troublesome spots, as always, will be the mountain passes. Be extra careful out there. We're expecting these treacherous conditions to continue throughout the day and into tomorrow.
We checked this morning, and the Montana Department of Transportation is reporting numerous accidents on I-90 due to snow and ice. We want to give you a driver's eye view of the road conditions. This isn't the highway through the mountains, but as you can see, the roads are snow covered and they're awfully dangerous. All right, skiers love that early season snowfall, but one resort in Montana is saying, please wait. Bridger Bowl in Bozeman opens next Friday, and as they get ready, the skiers aren't allowed to hike up on their own. Have patience, they say. It should be a great season to come. Well, if you visited Washington, D.C., there is a good bet that you crossed the Potomac and maybe you spent some time in Old Town Alexandria. The low-lying city is prone to flooding, a problem exacerbated by centuries-old pipes, but a fix is in the works. We go now to Joy Wang in Washington, D.C. to explain.
You're looking at the Alex Renew wastewater treatment plant, where every year the facility purifies 13 billion gallons of wastewater.
These treatment processes are essential for removing harmful bacteria, everything that would cause any issues to the environment.
But when heavy rain falls in Alexandria, the old pipes can't handle all that overflow, which means untreated wastewater ends up in the Potomac River.
This is dating back to the 1800s. It's the original sewer system, and it has one pipe in the ground that collects both rainwater and sewage.
The solution? A tunnel that would divert those overflows back here to be treated. Hazel, a custom-made tunnel boring machine, is the star of the show.
It's essentially a giant drill.
We crawled through a small space to get to the front, where Hazel will dig through 2 miles of dirt, rocks, and other materials.
That process will take about 14 months to tunnel, and then we'll have to come back in behind it and build the permanent structures.
Elevators, stairs, equipment, any infrastructure necessary for crews to pump all the water traveling through this tunnel up to treatment. In total, $615 million to make it all happen.
At the heart of it is a water quality project.
For more than a year, debris from the remnants of Tropical Storm Fred have remained in parts of North Carolina. The problem comes down to money. For more, we head to Samir Nefsi in Asheville, North Carolina.
August 17th, a date that's still fresh in the minds of many residents.
I watched the small trees about this big around. They were standing up like this, and they started leaning like this when the water started coming down. And another 5 to 7 or 8 minutes, they disappeared underwater.
More than a year later, and this is just one problem residents like Bob Kears face.
These are trees and stuff that were left over here. That's still here.
I'm really amazed at the damage. Buildings and bridges that have been here for a decade and much longer are just gone.
The waterways not much better.
Huge amount of debris, a lot of wood, a lot of trees down. It's all along the sides. There's a huge amount. There's so much more, and every single rapid has been changed.
So we're exercising all powers that we have to try to capture all funds we can from a multitude of opportunities.
Assistant County Manager Chris Boyd says there's 57 focus areas that received extensive damages post Tropical Storm Fred.
It's going to be a little tough, and there's always a concern that there's not enough funding.
Boyd says his team is now looking for contractors to bid on the project.
Time now for a fun segment that we call Social Meteorology. This is where we turn to our team of 200 meteorologists across the country, and we ask for their help to help you better understand weather and weather phenomena. You can find each and every one of those mini lessons on their social media platforms. We start now in Eugene, Oregon, where Josh Cosart, he's talking about clouds.
A banner cloud. It forms because of available moisture and the wind direction and temperature. We get colder westerly winds coming in from the Pacific Ocean. As it moves over the peak, it's able to draw warm, moist air up from downtown Eugene, and that warm, moist air cools, condenses, and creates the cloud sitting atop Spencer Butte.
What makes a snowstorm a blizzard? There are 3 things a blizzard must have. The first one is sustained winds or frequent wind gusts of 35 miles per hour or greater. The next one is snowfall or blowing snow that reduces visibility to less than 1/4 mile. And finally, these conditions must persist for 3 or more hours.
If you've ever looked up at the sky and noticed that it looks like the clouds are moving in different directions, that's because of something called directional shear. If you take a look at this time lapse I captured, you can see that if you think of the clouds like layers of a cake, we've got lower level clouds here moving from north to south and upper level clouds moving from west to east. Now all these cloud movements are powered by the wind. So at this lower level, we've got winds moving one way, and at the upper level, winds moving a different way. You can also have clouds at different levels going the same direction, but at different speeds, and that's going to be called speed shear.